The Legend of the Eight Immortals.
Chapter 27, The Miracle of Rebirth and the Gourd of Wonders. We left our story as the neighbor, Joe, asked the mysterious limping beggar for his name. Iron Crutch Lee, seeing that the young man was sincere, decided it was time to stop hiding his identity. He didn't hesitate. He limped straight toward the coffin where Yang Ren's mother lay. "Yang Ren, my boy," he shouted, his voice echoing through the silent room. "Do you truly not recognize your own master?" Yang Ren was blinded by his own tears, his mind a fog of grief. The sudden shout startled him so much that his weeping stopped instantly. He wiped his eyes and stared up at the dark-skinned, ragged man standing over the coffin. Joe was taken aback. He stepped forward, his brow furrowed in confusion. "Excuse me, sir, are you claiming to be my friend's master? Yang Ren has been a disciple since he was a child, and he has only ever served one master, a man named Li Xuan. He never mentioned anyone else. How can you say you are his master?" Yang Ren looked at the beggar's twisted leg and charred skin, shaking his head. "It's true, in my whole life, there has only been Master Li. I don't know who you are or how we could be related." Iron Crutch Lee let out a long sigh that turned into a chuckle. "I am your master, Li Xuan. I suppose I can't blame you for not knowing me. After all, you're the one who burned my mortal husk before I could return. My soul was left wandering, lost and homeless. If it weren't for my years of cultivation, I wouldn't have even been able to find this wretched, ugly, borrowed body." Hearing that familiar voice and the exact details of the cremation release that only he and his master knew, the truth finally hit Yang Ren. He didn't just kneel, he collapsed, his forehead hitting the floor with a heavy thud as he begged for mercy. Joe, realizing he was standing before a living immortal, quickly knelt beside him. Iron Crutch Lee reached out and pulled them both to their feet. "I told you before," he said, his voice softening. "This mistake happened because you were trying to be a good son. It can be forgiven. Besides, this was all a trial of fate. Even if you hadn't burned my old body, I wouldn't have been able to keep it forever. But," he paused, looking at the coffin, "I feel a great weight of guilt. Because you stayed to guard me, you missed your mother's final moments. That is a life debt I must pay." Yang Ren looked down, his heart aching. "Your mother's natural life was meant to end today," the immortal continued, "but because of your pure filial piety, I will use my power to bring her back. I will grant her 12 more years of life. But mark my words, during these 12 years, you must travel and perform great acts of devotion. You must build spiritual merit to balance this debt with the heavens. If you don't, you will shorten your own life, and I will be punished for defying heaven's will. Do you accept?" Yang Ren was so happy he could barely speak. He bowed until his head was bruised. "Master, I would give my life to do good if it means my mother can return." The immortal didn't reach for herbs or chant a long prayer. He simply stepped to the side of the coffin, took a deep breath, and blew a mist of pure spiritual energy onto the cold body. "Arise," he commanded. Suddenly, the body sat up with a violent gasp. "Oh, I felt so suffocated," she cried out. Yang Ren let out a sob of joy and threw his arms around her. When the mother opened her eyes and saw her son next to a dark, limping beggar, she was frozen with shock. "My son, I remember being at the gate of the underworld," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Then a cool, divine breeze swept me up and blew me back here. Did you save me?" Yang Ren pointed to Iron Crutch Lee. "My master is here," he pointed. "It was his divine power that brought you back from the dead." The mother tried to climb out of the coffin to bow, but Yang Ren hurried to help her. To everyone's surprise, she moved with the energy of a healthy woman. Her illness completely vanished. Together, mother, son, and Zhao bowed in reverence before the immortal. "Enough, enough," Iron Crutch Lee laughed, waving them up. "For us followers of the Tao, saving lives is simply our duty. Yang Ren, stay here. Take care of your mother for these 12 years. Do not return to the mountain yet. Use your skills to help others, and when the time is up, I will come back for your ascension. and with a sudden swirl of wind, he transformed into a streak of light and vanished into the clouds. When Iron Crutch Li returned to the Eight Visions Palace, the other immortals couldn't help themselves. Seeing their once handsome brother now looking like a ragged, charred beggar with a lopsided walk, they all broke into fits of laughter. Even the most serious among them were teasing him, making poor Li Shran feel quite embarrassed. But soon the laughter died down as Grandmaster Laojun took his seat. "This is exactly how you should look," the Grandmaster said with a knowing smile. "Most mortals hide the ugliness inside their hearts, but you carry yours on the outside. As you travel through the 3 realms, no one will suspect you are a great golden immortal. You can use this face to see who is truly sincere in their hearts. Isn't that wonderful?" Iron Crutch Li cheered up instantly. "I thought the same, Grandmaster, and since when Yang Ren gave me this staff, which I've turned the color of iron, I shall take the name Iron Crutch Li." "A perfect name," the Grandmaster nodded. "But your Iron Crutch needs a companion." He turned to a young boy. "Go to the back garden and pick a gourd." The boy returned with a large, simple gourd. The Grandmaster handed it to Iron Crutch Li. "Grandmaster, what makes this gourd special?" "It may look like a common thing," the Grandmaster explained, "but I have refined it into an immortal artifact. Inside, it holds the treasures of the immortals. If you face demons, it can pour out samadhi fire or a flood as vast as the eastern sea. If you wish to help the poor, it holds endless medicine and coins. And if you are traveling, it can even serve as a temporary home for thousands of people." The other immortals began to chuckle. "A home inside a gourd? Grandmaster, surely that's impossible." The Grandmaster laughed. "You are all looking at the world through a tiny hole." He told Li Xuan to put the gourd on the ground, close his eyes, and walk toward the opening. Li Xuan took 3 big steps with his eyes shut. When he opened them, he was standing in a massive circular mansion. It was beautiful, with soft beds, warm tea, and everything one could ever need. As he walked deeper, he thought, "This is lovely, but a house like this needs someone to keep it clean." The moment the thought crossed his mind, attendants in blue robes appeared. 2 beautiful maidens walked forward. "Master, please enjoy your tea," they said sweetly. Iron Crutch Li laughed out loud. "My Grandmaster is a master of illusions, but I am a simple beggar now. I don't need fine silks." As soon as he chose simplicity in his heart, the luxury vanished. The mansion turned into a rugged, clean stone room, humble and perfect. "Ah," he sighed, "the Grandmaster truly knows my heart." Suddenly, his fellow disciples appeared in the room. Then a thought occurred to him. Since my fellow disciples were doubtful of the Grandmaster's words, I should invite them in to see this wonder for themselves. Suddenly, the other immortals appeared in the room. They had followed him in on the Grandmaster's orders and were staring at the walls in awe. "We saw you disappear into that tiny hole. The Grandmaster was right to call us frogs in a well. This little spirit gourd actually has room for thousands of people." As they gathered, the interior of the gourd restored its magnificent and exquisite beauty once again, much to the delight of the visiting immortals. They all stepped back out, and the gourd shrunk back down to its tiny size, only a few inches long. "It is but a simple toy," the Grandmaster laughed as everyone stepped back out of the gourd. "Not yet the great Tao. You all marvel too much at small things." The immortals grew silent, humbled by his words. Then the Grandmaster commanded Iron Crutch Li to tie the Spirit Gourd to the head of his staff. "Wait," when Yang Ren stepped forward with a smile. "Allow me to offer my junior brother a cord to bind it." He reached up and plucked a single strand of hair from his head. With a steady hand, he stretched it until it grew over 12 feet long. When he let go, it shrank back into a shimmering cord, fine as silk, yet as tough as ox tendon. He used this divine thread to lash the gourd firmly to the staff, where it glowed with a soft golden light. "Now, Li Xuan," the Grandmaster spoke, "I have a task for you. You must go to the sea. A great event is unfolding there, but shadows are gathering. There are those from the dark sects who wish to stir the waters and cause chaos. This matter is deeply entwined with a Yang Ren named Wen Mei." The Grandmaster looked at him and continued, "By rights, this duty should have fallen to the immortal maiden, Henan Xian. Her destiny is tied to this tale, but since she is still deep in her sacred meditation, I shall place this burden upon your shoulders. Go and earn this divine merit on her behalf." Iron Crutch Li bowed his head in deep reverence. "I would be honored to serve the immortal maiden He," he replied. "Any credit for this deed shall be hers. I seek only to protect the Tao." Iron Crutch Li returned to Mount Tai and summoned his 2 disciples, Fei Fei and Dian Dian. "A guest will arrive soon," he told them. "Wait by the cave door and prepare for her arrival." Just after noon, a sound like a rushing wind filled the sky. A woman dressed in the robes of a Taoist priestess descended. "Welcome," Fei Fei greeted her. "Are you from the sea? Please give us your name." The woman smiled. "I am Tongwit. My master is Wen Mei Yang Ren, a disciple of Yuanxi Tianzun. Since our masters are all brothers in the Tao, one from Laojun and one from Yuanxi Tianzun, we are all one family." Iron Crutch Li, always humble despite his high rank, came out to meet her. Tong Hui bowed low. "Master Uncle, my master has sent me to ask for your help. A woman named Luo Yuan, now named Jue Shen, has achieved enlightenment and is holding a ceremony. Even the Dragon King will be there. We need you to lead the event." Through her words, Iron Crutch Li realized that this journey was destined to lead him to his future fellow immortal, Zhang Guo. He didn't hesitate. He, Tong Hui, and his 2 disciples rose into the clouds. But as they traveled, a freezing, pitch-black wind suddenly caught up to them. They turned and saw a dark cloud carrying 4 strange figures who were laughing coldly. Tong Hui whispered, "Master Uncle, be careful. My master warned me that enemies would try to ruin the ceremony. These 4 are covered in demon chi, and they are heading exactly where we are going." Iron Crutch Li narrowed his eyes. "Let's slow down and see what they have to say." Who are these dark figures, and what do they want with the 8 Immortals? Find out in the next chapter.